Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today with a repair video. This is a vintage Braun blender. This actually belongs to my mother and is older than I am. I couldn't find any Braun marketing material, but I did find this Argos catalogue from 1990. I believe this one is older, but nevertheless they were still selling these items for a reasonable price. Although that being said, £10 was a lot more in 1990 than it is today. Here is the blender. It's in very good condition. The plug you see is not original. You can see the end there. There's some cracks around the ring. This plug was made in England and it was bought because it matches the red switch. This is model number 630. Before you do anything to a device, you should always check the fuse, because that's the easiest thing to replace. This one is fine. I removed the screw at the top, which is unfortunately rusty. The sides can be pinched and the plastic can be very carefully wiggled away. I initially suspected the switch, but as you can see, that's just fine. I did test the action with my multimeter as well. It's a lovely little ceramic module. The white block you can see coming off it is actually a capacitor, and that tested just fine. In order to disassemble this, you have to somehow push the part that I'm pushing in and slide it upwards past those ridges. This was extremely difficult and I used a variety of prying tools. And this really was difficult. It took me hours and I mangled the plastic quite a bit. The switch popped off while I was doing that. I'm not sure what the easiest way to take that off would be, but you could probably push it with a screwdriver from the back. You can see this piece needs to slide down before the inner module is free. And there it's free, so you just pull that out and it will come out in one piece. You can see the driving mechanism. The shaft has a cross hole with a simple roll pin, and that goes to that plastic feature in the bottom to drive the shaft. It's all very simple and very elegant. The way they've done this motor with bent sheet metal is also very nice. I thought I had to unscrew the entire thing to change the brushes. That's not the case. These brass end caps on the brush holders fit into these ceramic V-shaped terminals. All you need to do is press in the tab with a screwdriver and pull it out with a pair of pliers, then the brush will come free. One brush came out with no problems, but the other brush was stuck in. This was causing the issues with the motor, so it was stopping and starting, and the reason for that is this brush needs to be constantly pressed to the commutator bars, which are the copper things at the back, and that's how power gets to the motor. If the brush is stiff in the holder, then it will not make proper contact. I purchased some replacements on China. I could only get 8, which is unfortunate because I need 2. I won't throw away the others, don't worry. The ones I got were also too long, so I sanded those down to the proper length. I also noticed the disc was bigger than the opening, so I cut that with a pair of pliers. I then put the brush in, squeezed the spring in, compressing it, and then pushed the clip back on, holding it in place. This is the anti-vibration rubber device. I noticed it was looking very clean underneath, which kind of surprised me. The discoloration you can see isn't dirt, it's actually the damage from ultraviolet light coming from the motor's arcs. The black powder you see is just from where I sanded the brushes. Now I had to reassemble it, and boy was this difficult. First of all, you have to slide the plastic thing under this little hook section, and then I had to use a wood clamp to bend the other plastic part into place. If there is a correct way of doing this, please let me know, but I just couldn't find it. I suspect that years of exposure to ultraviolet light made the plastic more stiff than it was at the factory, and that's why this was so difficult. This is the outer switch mechanism, which is very elegantly done, and you can see it just pushes in and clips down. I sanded some of the rust off the screw. I will keep my eyes open for a replacement, but I didn't have anything at the time. I wanted to clean the carving gunk off it, so I used some cream cleanser. It seems to work, and it's actually faster than before. I suspect this is because the brushes are softer than the originals. Here's one I found on eBay. You can see that's the original white plug. Here's one with a box. It came with a plastic cup for mixing in. I didn't bother to find that for the video, but my mother still has it somewhere in the house. This one has the sticker, and this one has an end without a crack in the ring, so I suspect that it's never been used. Some of them had a green switch. You can see this one is American, and it has some additional warnings. Thank you all very much for watching. This blender is something like 40 or 50 years old, which is amazing to say. If you do have one which has this damage, it would be very nice to repair it, but don't do so unless you're comfortable with electrical work. I will bring out more book videos soon, but I've been extremely busy and you'll have to be patient. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.